Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the latest installment of the Senturus Knowledge Series. Today, we're pleased to be presenting to you on the topic of what's new in Cognos 11.2.1. Today's agenda, after some brief introductions, we'll get into the presentation on what's new in Cognos 11.2.1, and then we'll go through some quick additional resources and Senturus overview for those of you who may not be familiar with what we do, before we get to the aforementioned Q&A. By way of introduction, we're pleased to welcome back Rachel Su, Cognos Analytics Offering Management Leader at IBM, with over 15 years of experience in different areas of Cognos Analytics. She's passionate about analyzing the market landscape as well as transforming and modernize business intelligence. We certainly appreciate her appearing on numerous of these webinars and her proven track record of delivering advanced product features for our audience. Before we get into the presentation, as per usual, we have a couple of polls for you that we're going to launch. The first one is, what version of Cognos are you currently on? There's obviously only one selection there. Are you pre-Cognos 10, Cognos 10, Cognos 11.0, 11.1, or are you au courant with 11.2? So go ahead and get those votes in, and then I'll share back the results when we have a sufficient data set here. All right, so unsurprisingly, most of you, 3/4 are on 11.1, about 10% of you sitting back on some version of 10 or 11, and a very small percentage on version 11.2. Not too surprising, given that's a relatively new release, so perhaps this will compel you to, those folks on 10, 11, and 11.1 to upgrade. The next poll is, what are your biggest challenges with Cognos? And this is a multiple selection, so you can choose all that apply. Is it the enabling or the adoption of self-service? Is it performance, report sprawl, or general cleanup needs? Is it that you're moving data to the cloud? Is it running hybrid environments? In other words, are you running multiple BI platforms and different types of environments like that? Maybe cloud, maybe on-prem. Or licensing, right sizing, licensing matching current use. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out, share that back. And we got a pretty even split between the first two, enabling adoption of self-service and performance, report sprawl, general cleanup. Be really curious to see a breakdown of those. Unfortunately, these polls are limited to 5 answers. And then about a quarter around licensing issues and 15% split between data migrations and running hybrid environments. Great, well, thank you for those insights, very much appreciated. And with that, I'm gonna hand the floor and the microphone over to Rachel. Rachel, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you so much. I hope you can all hear me and see my screen. If at any time during the presentation, it seems like I'm not advancing the slide or you can't hear me anymore, just please yell it out and I'll take a look before I go too far. So hello, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are, could be good evening. I'm very glad to be able to be invited back to present what's new with Cognos Analytics with Senturus. Every time when I present what's new session here, where I get a lot of really good feedback and questions. I will leave plenty of time at the end of this session for questions, so I encourage you to use the question section of the GoToMeeting tool to submit your question, and so I'll try to get through them at the end of this presentation. Now, before I dive into 11.2.1, what's new feature, I'm going to just have a very quick recap of what's delivered in 11.2.0. I just cannot assume we all remember what 11.2.0 was like, and I can't assume you've all heard my presentation for 11.2.0 as well. So we released 11.2.0 late May this year. So actually just maybe a quarter and a bit ago, we released 11.2.0. We did a lot of the enhancement around the home page, the portal, the content navigation. We have since received a lot of positive feedback from customers. They loved the change, the navigation, especially a usability enhancement that we've delivered in 11.2.0. That was a big thing. Now, another highlight is that we've added our AI capability support on top of OLAP Cube data source. So not only our AI works on relational data source, it also works on OLAP cubes as well. We've also delivered our very first Watson moment. It's called Watson Insights by leveraging IBM Research NLP to provide additional information when a user interacts with AI assistant. And we have done great work to improve the initial loading of our dashboard component without you having to reauthor. Of course, it depends on how your dashboard was created. You may see 30% performance improvement or up to 56%, I think is the most we've seen. Again, we've received positive feedback from customers saying that their dashboards are loading much faster now in 11.2.0 without them having to manually recreate or making any changes. Just a simple upgrade, they're getting much better performance. So really good product release for 11.2.0 with the brand new look and feel of the entire portal. And after we delivered 11.2.0, that was the end of May, we released 11.2.1 September 30th, so the end of the Q3 quarter. It is a smaller time period that we spent on product development, but there's actually a lot of important features packed inside of 11.2.1. So these are just highlights. Don't worry, I'm going to go into them in details. But first, I'm going to talk about this biggest announcement. We had an event in, I think it was October 5th or ish that week, first week of October. We have officially announced that Cognos Analytics is now part of the IBM Watson family. So what does this mean? You actually have to have certain capabilities or integrations or technologies with Watson product, Watson services, Watson technologies in a product in order to be able to add with Watson in your name. So if you're familiar with us or not, we currently have a lot of Watson integration. Now, some of these require you to also use another Watson product. What's the good news there is that if you're using another Watson product like Watson Studio, Watson Knowledge Catalog, we'll be able to support a lot of workflow and assets used in those Watson products, services inside of Cognos. Now, some integration, we don't require you to have another Watson product purchased or installed. We, in many areas, incorporate Watson technology, Watson products built directly into Cognos. So what you can see is that with this name change, it's telling the market, telling customer of our commitment in investing in a few areas. So first of all, better together. Cognos as part of IBM big family, we have a lot of technologies available to us to leverage where we can incorporate into Cognos product and allowing our customers to take advantage of them. This is also showing our commitment to be the best AI, to have the best AI capability for BI product. It is our vision, it's part of our AI vision. Everyone knows IBM Watson has industry-leading technology in the AI space. And we work very closely with IBM Research to look at opportunities in areas where we can enhance Cognos. We can bring more value into Cognos in many different areas. And we're leading with a lot of AI initiatives and work very closely with IBM Watson family. Now, I quickly mentioned that some of the integrations are already built into Cognos. Just a couple examples. In 11.2.0, I mentioned about the Watson Insights using Watson NLP. We also have the Learn panel on the right-hand side where you can launch. That's actually using the Watson Discovery technology to show contextual insights. We're working with integration of Watson Assistant in many more areas. All right, so that was a big announcement of Cognos Analytics. Our name just officially became really long, but there's a lot of good information in that name. for our customers. So we also made some licensing changes in this release. Everyone knows that Cognos is available not only on premises, but also on cloud. And with our cloud deployment options, we have hosted, which is enterprise ready. We host it, manage it for customers, but we allow a lot of customizations. So you basically have a dedicated environment to yourself. We can manage for you. You can schedule your updates on your own cadence. We also have this on-demand subscription-based cloud environment. And in the past, we had 3 different tier licenses, and we've simplified it to only 2 tiers and reduced the entry point as well. So for as low as $10 a month per user with no minimum user requirements, you can access our dashboard component, creating dashboard, consume dashboard, interact with it. It's not just a consumer license. You can actually create content with using our dashboard for $10 per month, US dollar per month per user. And everything else, the AI capability, the exploration stories, the reporting, the advanced pixel perfect enterprise reporting, everything else is $40 per month per user. And then we also came out with a mobile only license. So what this means is, well, of course, you would already be a Cognos customer. You already have Cognos license, right? With our new mobile app, which was released as part of the 11.2.0 release earlier this year in the summer-ish, you can expand your Cognos footprint. You can distribute your Cognos content to more users with cheaper price. So if you have users only need to interact, consume content, Cognos content through the mobile app, it's $5 a month per user. So you can get those mobile license, a mobile only license for these users. Through this mobile app, they can connect to Cognos data, they can consume visualizations, they can set notification monitoring data. They can also interact with our AI assistant through the mobile app and ask a question live and have a visualization returned and answered in real time. That is actually content creation on the go, right, for $5 a month. So those are the licensing pricing changes we released as part of the 11.2.1 release. You don't have to read through the lines. I'm going to go into each of them in detail. What I want to say is every release, you're going to see a lot of features in one area, maybe so more than other. You've seen a lot of enhancements in our dashboards. You've seen a lot of changes in our portal content navigation. One area and one component where a lot of our customers use daily is reporting. We continue to make improvements in reporting, and this release, we actually did more. I feel like we did more and more impactful features than some other releases. So I'm really proud of all the work that was put into reporting for 11.2.1. So I'm going to start with the visualization side. Now, visualization features, they will go into both reporting and dashboarding. First of all, we added a new donut visualization in reporting. We replaced the pie visualization that's currently in dashboard with this new donut visualization. There's a difference because in dashboard, well, actually this donut visualization, you can configure it through properties to make it look like a pie. So we didn't really need to have another pie visualization. And so we did that for dashboard. However, for reporting, we have to be very careful with customers' existing assets, right? We don't want to make changes to their existing reports when they upgrade. And so we decided to add this as an additional visualization type so that report authors have the option to pick and choose whatever they want to use. And through this visualization, you can create a donut type. You can change the middle hole radius size, and you can put label in the middle. You can change the start and end angle so it looks like a half donut or half pie or a full donut. Or a donut that's missing a bite. There are lots of configuration changes that you can make with this donut visualization. I know it's just a donut or pie visualization. However, these are some of the most commonly used and important visualizations out there. And so we want to make sure that we have all of these and available for you to customize based on what you need. Other visualization improvements, we've added options allowing you to change the shape for the symbol that's used in our legend area, right? Some people didn't like the circle or square, just didn't fit with their overall look and feel or business requirements. So we've added all these different shapes. You can pick and choose what you want. We've also added the axis label orientation option, right? So you can do horizontal, vertical, rotate, scatter, stagger, depending on how much data you have and how much room you have to play with. And don't forget, our visualizations are responsive, so that, and it's a setting you can turn on or off. So if you do use the responsiveness that's out of the box, when there's really no space left, we sometimes omit the axis labels for you. There's two tips available, right? Really think about when you're designing your reports or dashboards, be smart about using space. If it's something that's taking up too much space and leaving too much white blank, don't do it. Like this screenshot here, that does not look great. So that's an example of what not to do around reports and dashboard design, but it shows you what you can do with different options. Another improvement around bullet visualization, you can make it vertical or horizontal. It fits nicely if it's horizontal, it fits nicely if it's nested inside of a list or a cross tab as one of the cell, right? It really depends on what you're trying to do in terms of achieving the overall design look and feel of your reports and dashboards. Now, this is an interesting one, and I think some of you would probably jump out of your chair and happy that we finally did this. We have received a lot of negative feedback from customers about our tab reports. We also have lots of positive feedback because customers love that we can allow you to flexible change your reports from pages, multiple pages, to tabs. So we allow you to change where the tabs are located. We've had this feature for a long time. Those are good. Positive feedback. The negative one is the performance. Right? Performance is an important thing, and for tab report, it did not perform the same way as paged report. Like same exact paged reports, if you switch them to run tabs, they could be running, they run slower for sure if it's executed in HTML output interactively. I'm not talking about scheduled report. I'm not talking about PDF or Excel. This is HTML interactively run mode only. So what that means is the reason it was slow is that we were evaluating all the tabs in the queries ahead of time before start rendering. Customers said, why don't you just display one tab at a time? So what we did, and it's not that simple, what we did is we didn't just change the default behavior to render one tab at a time. We implemented a property at the report level. So depending on how your report is authored, you can choose if you want to use this option or not. You can choose to have it optimized to run one tab at a time. So when you're initially opening up a tab report, it's going to only render the first tab and it's going to be fast. Why would you not want to use this? It's if your report is authored with, say, conditional rendered objects, that's the condition is rely on knowing the total total number of pages or total number of tabs. Because we're not evaluating all the tabs at the same time, ahead of time, we may not know the number of tabs. So your conditionally rendered object won't show up correctly. So you know your reports, you know how your reports are designed. If you're not using conditional rendered based on the tab numbers, please feel free to use this new option. It's going to be much faster. It is good. And if you do have reports rely on total page or tab numbers, may not be a good option for you. Another performance area of new feature that we implemented is, I'm not sure how many of you currently aware that when you're authoring a report within the report authoring UI, you have the option to show performance details, which we will break down what's the rendering time versus query time. We'll show you which query takes how much time and which objects is with which query. We can show you which prompt is taking how much time. So it's very good for report authors to troubleshoot a performance issue, or just to have a better understanding of where we're spending on rendering a report. So that was only available in report authoring. The same exact capability, we brought it into batch report run. So batch report means when you're scheduling a report or running a report in background, you're not actively opening it up to select that option. So when you're scheduling a report, go to run report in background, you have the option to show up to say, I want to also have performance details as part of my report output. Active report viewer. Now, this is not exactly part of the 11.2.1 release because it didn't get released with the product. It didn't have to. It is its own tool. It's a standalone tool. But I'm including it here because we did this work during the 11.2.1 development period, and also I don't know if everyone is aware of this. So this is for customers who currently use active reports. And if you don't use active report, sorry, you can sit back, relax for a couple minutes when I'm talking about this. But if you do use active reports today, you will know that, well, first of all, I need to clarify. If you use active reports offline, download it from Cognos or got it from somebody else in the MHT format, you can consume it offline. Right now, you can only open that format in IE. It's an IE only format. Now, with the Microsoft messaging of moving away from IE, we had to find a solution for our customers who invested heavily, who rely on active reports. What we did is, this is a new lightweight Windows desktop app that you can use. You do not have to use browser anymore. You can use this app to open, consume, interact with existing active reports in MHT format. You don't have to recreate them. You don't have to rerun them. Any MHT file that you got, you've been consuming, it should open from this viewer. It's available off our accelerators catalog. Just Google accelerators catalog, active report viewer. It is completely free for any users. You do not have to have an IBM ID. We're not checking your licensing. This is a consumer end user tool. It is using Electron open source technology. It actually performs a lot better than IE, which I'm not surprised. IE is very legacy, has very legacy code. It doesn't manage resource very well, whereas this is Chromium-based technology that it's a lot faster to render, to interact, the initial load is much faster. Okay. Now, another very important enhancement, it seems like a small one, but it has been a pain for many customers. Is search and select prompt had been missing when using data module as the data source. So this release in 11.2.1, we brought the search and select prompt available back, fully tested, officially supported when you're using a data module as your data source. Another looks small but very important feature is allowing users to copy value on a HTML report output. This was available in the Cognos 10 Classic Viewer. It's still available through the Classic Viewer. We have a lot of votes on our AHA Ideas portal to say we need to bring this feature into the interactive viewer. So that's what we did. Is based on customer feedback, they want to be able to copy value out of HTML report outputs. The way we did it is through On-Demand Toolbar. So what's so good about that is it's discoverable because all your toolbars are right there. You're not going to miss it. We're not hiding it from right click. We actually did not enable it through Control C or Command C. It's because some customers don't really want this. This is what we have to deal with, right? Some customers need it. Some customers absolutely can't have it. So if you don't want your users to interact with data like this, you can disable On-Demand Toolbar. We have property at a report level allowing you to do that. We have a global setting allow you to disable On-Demand Toolbar. So if you don't want that, you can take it away. But if you do use it, through this copy button, you can copy the value that's currently selected. So right here in the screenshot, camping equipment that has the darker blue background, that is the selected value. We have multiple selection model, you can tell. Right here, you are selecting the entire column body, where it means you could do something for the entire column. But you can also just select that camping equipment as the value of the cell that's being selected. And that's going to get copied. From the drop down, there's actually a way for you to also the option to copy raw value. What does that mean is often your data is stored in a format that's if at a source that's not exactly user-friendly to report to create reports against. So a lot of times report author would do data formatting on these things. It's more common on measures, for example, measures. However, when you're copying value and taking it, I don't know where you're taking it, of course, so when you're taking it outside of Cognos, you may want the raw value that's actually stored at source. It could be 16 digits, 32 digits long. So that's what copy raw value will give you. It's allowing you to copy unformatted data. There are a few mapping enhancements in this release as well. Now, if you may recall, we currently support a few different grouping options. Cluster, so which will cluster and group data points into different buckets as round shaped points on the layer. We also have heat map as a way to show you the density area. It's a different view. Now the third option around grouping is hexbin, and it's available for point layer as well as latitude and longitude layer, where we're going to, and this is an example to show you that things are grouped using hexbin option. And you probably already saw that we also support 3D maps. Now you can use a third measure as the excursion, the height, to show which area has higher density data. And to put the two together, you can see through this type of gesture, you can tilt the map to see the height of your 3D locations. You can actually configure the maximum and minimum excursion height depending on your data, because sometimes maybe the height is too much higher than the lower part, and the lower part doesn't show up anymore, doesn't show very well anymore. So you can configure the range to scale yourself. Of course, you can change the color of those, create any type of view that you want. And this is using hexbin grouping with the 3D mapping view. It's on points layer, and then this, you can use the 3D maps. It's available on all layers. So if this is just region layer, you can see that whole region with the shape popping up instead of just points. Now, there are some other enhancements. They didn't really need to have their own slides, but they're very important. I want to call out. And the first one is Event Studio support. I know this is a big ask from many customers. We did it to have Event Studio also supported in Chrome browsers, which means Google Chrome and Chromium Edge. So when I say Chrome, it means both Google Chrome and Chromium Edge. This is available in 11.2.1, but we're also backporting it into 11.1.7 FP4, which is scheduled to be released end of November. That's going to have this browser conformance update for Event Studio as well. We've also done some usability improvements for the home page navigation, content navigation. As I mentioned, we made a lot of enhancements changes at the 11.2.0 release. There are a couple other little things that didn't get in. We completed them in 11.2.1. For example, now from the switcher. So the switcher is where you can find all your opened reports or dashboards or data modules, all the Cognos objects that are currently open. You can find them from the drop-down switcher. You can also find your content navigation there now. So through just a couple clicks, you can go back on where you were around content navigation. We also can persist more things, remember more things, how you configured around your content navigation, such as how you want to sort things, how you want to hide things. We want to make sure that we're remembering everything. So when you go back to the content navigation, it's exactly where you have left at. And for the search area, we're also persisting filters that you used last, and we can build on top of that instead of having you to start over. We also have bumped up our accessibility based on IBM Accessibility 7.2 requirements. So there are 5 or 6 additional accessibility requirements added as part of the IBM accessibility requirements. So we've added those fully tested with Cognos. If you are familiar with our WKC, so what's the knowledge catalog integration, we now at the schema import, you can select specific WKC catalogs instead of loading up and importing all these schemas, all these catalogs in a schema. We've also added TLS 1.3 support in this release and deprecated the older ones. Around data access, we've added 2 additional connectors, so Dremel as well as IBM Cloud SQL Query. So what's really interesting about Dremel is that through this connector, not only you can connect to the traditional databases like Oracle SQL Server, DB2, and so on, but it also allows you to connect to local and distributed file systems, S3 cloud storage systems as such. So Dremel is a supported connector that comes with the Cognos install. Of course, you're going to have to purchase Dremel separately yourself, but the connector is part of Cognos install now. All right, so that's the end of what's new in 11.2.1. I'm going to pass this back in. I will come back at the end of the session to answer questions.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you very much, Rachel. Yeah, definitely stick around, everybody. We've got a ton of great questions. I pretty much flagged them all, Rachel, so maybe you can take a peek at those if you can multitask. And go ahead and get all your questions in. We'll get to them very shortly. You may be asking yourself, how can I take advantage of these great new features and modernize my system and enable self-service, increase user adoption, and reduce my administration and cost? Well, that's where Senturus can come in and help you out. We can help you with all the things that are bulleted out here, whether it's optimizing your data models, introducing better governance to support self-service, helping you with your performance, cleaning up and rationalizing content, leveraging some of our proprietary technology, showing you how to run Cognos in concert with another BI platform, help you right-size your Cognos licensing, or upgrade to Cognos 11 or the latest versions. So please click the link there or just reach out to us and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. On the next slide, we have a lot of great additional resources in our newly branded Knowledge Center. It has tons of valuable content addressing a wide variety of business analytics topics, whether it's technical tips, product demos, webinars like this, and upcoming events. And our new website makes it even easier to find what you're looking for. So make sure you go over there and bookmark that. Speaking of events, we have an upcoming event on Thursday, November 4th. So that's next week. If you want to click on the next slide, please, Rachel, where you can easily connect Power BI and Tableau to Cognos data. It'll be hosted by yours truly. We'll be demonstrating the Senturus Analytics connector, same time, same channel. So please go register for that if you're interested in leveraging that great Cognos metadata. Quick couple slides about us at Senturus. We concentrate our expertise solely on business intelligence with a depth of knowledge across the entire BI stack. And on the next slide, our clients know us for providing clarity from the chaos of complex business requirements, disparate data sources, and constantly moving targets. We've made a name for ourselves because of our strength at bridging the gap between IT and business users. We deliver solutions that give you access to reliable, analysis-ready data across the organization so you can quickly and easily get answers at the point of impact, the decisions you make, and the actions you take. Our consultants are leading experts in the field of analytics with years of pragmatic real-world experience and experience advancing the state of the art. We're so confident in our team and our methodology that we back our projects with a 100% money-back guarantee that is unique in the industry. And we have a full selection of courses on Cognos 11. We offer training in the 3 main platforms that we support and in modalities featuring things like tailored group sessions, small group mentoring, instructor-led online courses, and self-paced e-learning. We can mix and match those to help optimize for what's best for your organization. And we've been doing this for a long time. We've been focused exclusively on business intelligence for over 20 years now. We work across the spectrum, all the way from the Fortune 500 down to the mid-market, solving business problems across just about every industry out there and most functional areas, including the Office of Finance, Sales and Marketing, Manufacturing, Operations, HR, and IT. Our team is both large enough to meet all of your business analytics needs, yet small enough to provide personalized attention. If you're interested, we are hiring talented and experienced professionals. You can see we're looking for various positions there, and you can join the Senturus team. You can either email your resume to jobs@senturus.com and analyze or dive into the job descriptions at the link provided here. So with that, we'll go to the next slide and jump into the Q&A. Rachel, not sure if you want to just sort of start from the top and work your way down, or if you want me to feed these to you, or we can do it however you want.
I can just go through the questions myself. I'll repeat the question first and then answer them. Do you actually see the questions that I'm looking at?
Yeah,
or
you have the question.
Just my own view. Right? Yeah, and you can see it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's probably covering some of this part of the slide when you're going through them. Then.
Yeah, you can undock it if you want to. So the first question was around, do you have to be on the cloud version to have Watson Moments?
All right, so I'm just stop sharing for a sec so I can move these things more freely. Okay, you can still me okay? Still hear me?
I can hear you just fine, yep.
Okay, so I'll go through the questions. The first one, do you have to be on cloud version to have Watson Moments? No, you do not. This Watson Moments, we brand it as Watson Moment, Watson Insights built into the product. And for Cognos, really, we have feature parity between our on-prem and versus the cloud offering. It is the same install. Some of the legacy components may not be available on cloud, but when we implement features, they're mostly available for both on-prem as well as in the for the one that we host on cloud. So you don't have to be on cloud in order to have this. It's built into the Cognos install base. Next question: if you have no access to Mapbox, is there any other mapping solutions, or do we have to create our own custom maps? So when you say no access, is it because you can't access to the public internet from the client machine? I assume that's why you're saying no access. You need a mapping server installed behind firewall for your users to reach to. So if that's the case, our current integration with our mapping capability is through Mapbox only. that's the one that we officially support, and it does not require you to have Cognos server. I just want to make this clear, is that your Cognos servers can still behind a firewall. It doesn't have to reach to the public internet. It's only the client machine who's running the reports from a browser, your laptop, that has to have internet connection. Now, if you can't do that, we do have some partner-done solutions to integrate Cognos with Esri maps. So that's something maybe you could go Google. Cognos has some of the partners build a lot of custom mapping integration solutions. Quite a few of them are available there. So if you just Google that, you can probably get some results. The next question, does the Cognos 11.2 administration console have the same look and feel as 11.1? Yes, so for the 11.2, for the administration part, this is how it's been going. It is going slow. This is how it's been going. It's going slower than some other areas within the product to modernize. You can see from every release or every other release will have some of the admin area UI moved from the legacy old administration console to the new, what we call managed area. For 11.2 specifically, we didn't really do the 11.20 and 11.21, we didn't do much work around moving the old legacy admin UI to the new managed, but actually 11.22, we've got quite a few things that's currently scheduled being worked on around its administration area to move some of the legacy UI into the new managed area. So you should be able to, you should expect more work to be done in this area in the 11.2.2 release. What about PVU licenses? Are there any changes? No changes to your PVU licenses from this release. The next question, it's a little bit long, but I read through it. This is asking about upgrade from 11.2 to 11, sorry, from 10.2 to 11.2. So in Cognos 10.2, you only allow your user to see their own My Folders in the portal, but in the version 11.2, they're able to see team content. There's no way to hide. Well, I think you should log a support ticket, maybe perhaps, to contact us for this question, because for sure we support the option to hide team content. We even have some internal environments where that's how it's configured. So that capability is still there, and it should not even break when you upgrade. It should automatically be applied. So if you do see issues and if you're not able to find the option how to hide it, please log a support ticket so we can take a look at your environment setting more closely. Yeah. There are a couple questions around, oh, here's the first one. It's a conditional coloring palette. You want to be able to see assigned color to a specific value or in the graph. So this one is currently being worked on for dashboard component, and for reporting, we haven't started this work in that specific area. But it is something that we do want to plan. Right now, what's currently being worked around visualization in reporting for a new visualization engine is master detail. That is currently on the #1 priority list, that we want to bring master detail into the new visualization engine. And then we're going to move on to enhanced advanced sorting. These are a couple of things we really have to implement right away. And the other question is custom tooltips in new chart. So we have done some custom tooltips on the chart prototypes. We feel that it's not good enough, the prototype that we had. We want to do a bit more. We want to tie that to value instead of just the chart body. So that work is currently on the roadmap, but it's not actively being worked on. It's just a little bit lower priority comparing to master detail and enhanced sorting, which is what we're currently worked on. When you run tab report as a report view, does your new tab work the same as a report view? So the optimization work for tab to report it triggers when you run a report interactively in HTML format. So if you're running your report view in HTML interactively, yes, you will get the optimized performance as well. How to turn on the performance detail in admin console. What services do we need to pick in order? Oh, you don't have to pick any special services. The performance details in the that I mentioned in the slide that captures batch report runs, you do not have to do it on a specific dispatcher or report service to enable. So in the slide deck, which will be made available after the after this session, it has a link to the knowledge document to explain how that works. It is a advanced setting that you set to true, and then you can just and it's an advanced setting on the in the admin console, but we have a link in the documentation to explain how to enable that. The next question is, Framework Manager come with version 11.2? Yes, it is still part of 11.2. It's part of Cognos 11. We have not deprecated Framework Manager. It is a tool that we continue to support. We do have a new web-based modeling tool, data module. It does not have full feature parity with Framework Manager. It is something that we continue to improve, enhance, but at the same time, we absolutely still support Framework Manager with the current version, and we do not have a time frame on when to deprecate it. It's not being actively discussed at this point. Next question, can we disable parts of the on-demand toolbar? Yes, some people have asked about this before. This is not currently available. Please help us to vote on the idea. That's going to help us to understand what requests are more important to customers. We look at some of the highly voted enhancement requests from the AHA portal. So I'm pretty sure this one has already logged. Please go ahead and vote on the idea if it's something that you want. We did talk about this. It's something that we're open to do, but we want to see if it's more important than some other priorities that we currently already have planned. What is the next version of Cognos after 11.2.1 and when it is targeted for? The next version of Cognos is 11.2.2. It is currently scheduled for Q2 next year. Advanced settings are not exported in a content store export. When you upgrade a version, this is not comfortable. When do you plan to include advanced options into upgrade scenarios? That's a good question. I think that's something I should look into a bit more. I did not know that they're not being included in the content store export. Sorry, I don't know the answer to everything in a product, but I'll take this note down and to do a follow-up, because I'm not sure about this one. Advanced setting, content store. All right. The next question. How does the Framework Manager authoring works in your cloud environment? Through VPN connection. We actually have a few different options. If you are interested, Ram, if you're interested about the cloud offering and how your existing components may work, please feel free to send me an email. We can take a look at your plan and see what you're using and how to migrate them. This is an area that we have a lot of ongoing discussion and work and resources planned to help customers who has the modernization play to cloud. We want to help our customers to modernize their infrastructure, their user base, and help them to move their current workloads to cloud. So send me an email around this, and we can do a deeper dive into this. Next is file upload automation enhancement in the pipeline. Yep, this one is currently on our 11.2.2 list. It's not, we haven't started this work because we're finishing up some other work for 11.2.2 and 11.1.7 FP4, but this is on top of our priority list. We were discussing of different mechanisms that we can support scheduled file upload. We may not have to implement this organically. There are lots of technologies available we can leverage. So this is something, yeah, it's currently targeted. Any improvement on search, so recursive search, not on this release. So this is one that I would encourage you to contact us through the AHA portal with your suggestion, and we can take a look at that. Next question, notebook. Any change install on Windows Server? No, we're still monitoring this issue with Windows Server on this. Next time we looked, there's no progress on that side, so we cannot make our Jupyter notebooks available on Windows Server still, but we will keep our close eyes on that as soon as Microsoft making the changes that's needed. We can be on there. It is definitely something that we want to do, and a lot of customers have asked for this. Next, we would like to have a greater degree control over elements in Rave, charts, and visualizations in the dashboard. Can you please be more specific about what exactly you want to control? I think I saw your name at the bottom asking about conditional rendering in the dashboard. That's currently being worked on. Last time I checked with that team. I don't know where we are on that exactly in terms of progress, but that's an area that we want to do. And again, so I would like to suggest when our customers log an enhancement request, don't group multiple requests or multiple features into one under one, because for example, we have a visualization improvements AHA idea that's voted quite high, but we don't really know exactly what improvement, which feature customers are voting on. So it's difficult for us to prioritize in this case.
He added to the Sorry, Rachel. He added to the bottom something similar to legacy charts where they can control things at a deeper level, like chart nodes, bar thickness, etc. If that gives you some color.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that gives me some ideas. Control things at deeper level. Chart nodes, bar thickness, etc. Yeah, please log these in the AHA idea portal and make sure you separate them and be clear on what you are trying to control, and so that we know how to prioritize different features. Whenever we group them in a AHA idea, it's very difficult for us to leverage that in our prioritization exercise. Custom sorting on visualization. Yes, so I talked about this. That's actually right after we finish master detail. That is another thing that's quite high priority for us for the 11.1 visualization engine to enhance is custom sorting based on another item, right? Another question, can this version be installed over an existing 11.1 version? Yes, so you can install over top, and a lot of customers do. But I personally recommend you to not do that in your production right away. You could do that in your test environment, your QC, your dev. Make sure that you're comfortable doing something like that, and always make backups. But yes, we do have customers install over top. We still allow the same preserve file options. So the installation side of the product has not changed in 11.2 version. Are there plans to implement aggregate awareness capabilities in the module? Today it's only available in dynamic cubes. Aggregate awareness. I remember the team talking about this quite a bit lately. It is something that is on our roadmap as part of the data module enhancement. We're also evaluating constantly about feature gaps between data module and framework manager, for example. So a lot of things are on our data module enhancement list to implement. Okay, so Jason had a clarification around Mapbox. Your client machines don't have access to Mapbox. Okay, yeah, Esri is not officially supported by Cognos. That's why I suggested you to search for partner solution. We do have partner integrated build connector to support Esri and Cognos. They have the solution already implemented and they support it fully. So it is through our partner solution. Custom control is complex. Can it be streamlined? Make it user-friendly? Yeah, see, custom control is a feature. So custom control is our way of allowing JavaScript to be brought into Cognos reporting. You can store it on any web server. You can store it in an extension with Cognos server. You can upload it. So it is a feature that's targeted for developers. So if you're a JavaScript developer, that's the targeted user persona. But I completely understand what you're saying, that doesn't matter what user persona that you're working as, we should be able to make it easier to use for all type of users. So a couple of things we've thought about is making the custom control available as a insertable object, for example. So that's one area. But the concept of custom control, allowing users to use JavaScript, that's going to remain as a advanced use case for developers. Probably unlikely we're going to make it simple for business users to be able to comfortable use. Will there ever be a conversion process to convert FM into data module? That's an interesting question. We got that question quite a bit. There are partners do this. So again, this is another one that you can Google. I don't want to advocate and promote one partner over another. That's why I'm not mentioning partner names on this call, especially I'm on the partner webinar today. But there are some custom tools developed by Cognos partners can do this type of conversion from FM to data module. I have seen it. Is there any plan of enabling filters as drop-down or radio button in Cognos dashboard? As currently, there's the only option, I think, filter is list box in dashboards. Yes, dashboard is lacking of some of the prompt control object. Right now, for dashboard, when you're performing filters, our dashboard doesn't really use concept of prompt UI, prompt control, or prompt widget. It's just really a filter mechanism. So you don't really see a lot of different visual views of the traditional typical prompt controls. It is on our plan to implement them. We have a set of prompts that reporting will want to implement, and hopefully that's shared. But the goal is to share it across the product. So that's something that we're currently evaluating. Is there still an option to run reports in the background in version 11.2? Yes, that has not changed. Any updates to Cafe? I'm not familiar with Cafe, the Excel plugin. That's owned by Planning Analytics team. Sorry that I don't have the answer to that one. SharePoint can use data source or JSON file. I'm not sure if I understand that. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Sorry about that. Ran out of time. I pretty much answered most of the questions.
Yeah, I think that was great. Thank you very much. Maybe one last one there. Are there plans to implement relative time functions for relational data sources?
Yes. So in our data module, today, we have relative time functions already implemented associated with custom calendars that you can import. But we have another initiative to enhance our AI natural language understanding of relative time. So that's another thing, and more over, we're looking at how can we leverage the data module relative time functions in the product, across product, in other areas as well.
Great. Yeah, that's a really powerful piece of functionality, and we actually do some webinars on it. You can find it over in the Knowledge Center, how you can leverage those calendars and the relative time functionality and the great KPI functionality. So with that, we will wrap up here. I want to thank Rachel again for a great webinar and great depth of knowledge here, banging out all of those questions. And thank all of you for joining us today. We hope you'll reach out to us at sales@senturus.com or give us a shout or hit us up via the chat here. We look forward to seeing you on the next Knowledge Series event. Thank you for your time today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me.